What's up, soldiers? Welcome back. Today, we're embarking on a journey through time, an explosive retrospective of one of the most iconic and influential franchises in video game history, Call of Duty. From its roots in World War II to futuristic conflicts and battle royale, how has this series captured the imagination of millions of American players across different eras? And more importantly, what is the significance of its multiplayer in global gaming culture? Prepare for deployment. Climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time. But what exactly is it, and why does it matter? Climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time. But what exactly is it, and why does it matter? The origins of Call of Duty date back to 2003, with the release of the first game bearing the same name. This foundational title firmly planted its roots in the historical and dramatic context of World War II, a period rich with tales of courage, sacrifice, and conflict on an unprecedented scale. World War II as a backdrop, the developers at Infinity Ward chose World War II as the initial setting for Call of Duty. This decision aligned with a popular trend at the time, with numerous games and films exploring this major conflict. The wealth of events, locations, and characters from World War II provided fertile ground for an immersive shooter from multiple perspectives. One of the innovative aspects of the first Call of Duty was allowing players to experience the war through the eyes of different Allied soldiers, an American soldier, a British soldier, and a member of the French resistance. This narrative approach offered a more comprehensive view of the conflict. Iconic battles. The game featured iconic battles from World War II, such as the Battle of Kursk, the Normandy landings, and the Battle of Berlin. This allowed players to feel immersed in crucial historical moments. Realism and immersion. From its beginnings, Call of Duty sought to offer an immersive experience of war. While not a pure simulation, the game emphasized the intensity of combat, the chaos of the battlefields, and the feeling of being part of a fighting unit. Cinematic single-player campaign. The single-player mode was structured as a series of interconnected missions, telling a story through the perspectives of different protagonists. Cinematics and scripted sequences contributed to the immersion and the feeling of participating in an epic narrative. Innovative multiplayer. Although less emphasized than the single-player campaign at the time, the multiplayer mode of the first Call of Duty already laid the groundwork for what would become a pillar of the franchise. It offered team-based confrontations in environments inspired by the locations of the single-player campaign. Call of Duty 2, 2005, and Call of Duty 3, 2006. These sequels continued to explore different theaters of World War II, improving graphics, gameplay, and immersion. Call of Duty 2 is particularly praised for its realism and increased scale of battles. Call of Duty: World at War, 2008. This title marked a return to World War II after the success of Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. It focused on the Pacific Theater and the Eastern Front, offering a darker and more brutal perspective on the conflict. The Modern Warfare era of Call of Duty is a significant turning point for the franchise, marking a departure from its World War II origins and establishing a new identity rooted in contemporary and near-future conflicts. This era is primarily defined by the games developed by Infinity Ward under the Modern Warfare title, though its influence extends to other Call of Duty games as well. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare in 2007. This game is widely considered the title that launched the Modern Warfare era and redefined the Call of Duty franchise and the FPS genre. It shifted the setting to a modern-day conflict involving a radical leader in the Middle East and an ultra-nationalist movement in Russia. Groundbreaking multiplayer. Introduced or popularized features like kill streaks, customizable loadouts, a robust progression system with unlockable weapons and perks, and a fast-paced, addictive gameplay loop. These elements became staples of the genre. Intense cinematic campaign, offered a gripping narrative with memorable characters like Captain Price and Soap McTavish, presented with high production values akin to action films. Modern setting. The contemporary setting resonated with players and felt more relevant to current geopolitical issues. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 2, a direct sequel that continued the storyline and built upon the success of its predecessor. Expanded multiplayer, introduced new kill streaks, equipment, and maps, further refining the online experience. Controversial but engaging campaign. Featured memorable and sometimes controversial moments that sparked discussion. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 3 concluded the original Modern Warfare trilogy, escalating the global conflict, polished gameplay, refined the core mechanics, and offered a large amount of content for both single-player and multiplayer. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare, a soft reboot of the Modern Warfare sub-series, reimagining the characters and scenarios for a modern audience, gritty and realistic tone, aimed for a more grounded and mature depiction of modern warfare, drawing inspiration from real-world conflicts. Cross-platform play, introduced cross-platform multiplayer for the first time in the series, expanding the player base. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 2 in 2022, a direct sequel to the 2019 reboot, continuing its narrative and expanding on its gameplay. Impact and significance: shift in FPS settings. The Modern Warfare era broke the mold of predominantly World War II-themed shooters, paving the way for modern and near-future settings to become more prevalent in the genre, revolutionized online multiplayer. The multiplayer innovations introduced in Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare set a new standard for console online gaming and heavily influenced countless other FPS titles. Cinematic presentation: the emphasis on blockbuster-style campaigns with high production values raised the bar for storytelling in action games. Cultural phenomenon: the Modern Warfare games achieved massive commercial success and became deeply embedded in popular culture, influencing gaming communities and even mainstream media. Esports foundation: the competitive nature of the multiplayer helped lay the groundwork for Call of Duty's significant presence in esports. The Call of Duty Black Ops series, starting in 2010, carved a unique niche within the franchise by immersing players in the shadowy and often morally ambiguous world of the Cold War. Unlike the more straightforward military conflicts of modern warfare, Black Ops focused on clandestine operations, espionage, and the psychological toll of covert warfare during this tense geopolitical period. Here's a breakdown of the Black Ops games set during or heavily influenced by the Cold War. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in 2020 setting, primarily set in 1981, during a particularly volatile period of the Cold War's story. Players take on the role of Bell, a CIA operative working alongside familiar characters like Alex Mason, Frank Woods, and Jason Hudson, as well as new operatives. Their mission is to track down a Soviet spy known only as Perseus, who aims to destabilize the global balance of power. The campaign features branching storylines and multiple endings, allowing for player choice to influence the narrative. Cold War elements: the game deeply immerses players in the early 1980s Cold War atmosphere, complete with period-accurate weaponry, technology, and cultural references. It explores themes of espionage, disinformation, and proxy conflicts, with missions taking place in East Berlin, Vietnam, Turkey, and the Soviet KGB headquarters. Historical figures like Ronald Reagan make appearances, further grounding the story in the era. Emphasis on espionage and covert operations: unlike the large-scale battles often seen in other Call of Duty titles, Black Ops focused on stealth, infiltration, and black operations carried out behind enemy lines, morally gray narratives. The storylines often explored the darker aspects of the Cold War, where the ends justified the means, and characters frequently operated in morally ambiguous situations. Psychological elements: the Black Ops narrative often delved into the psychological impact of espionage and warfare, particularly through the character of Alex Mason and his fractured psyche. Historical context blended with fiction, while taking inspiration from real Cold War events and featuring historical figures. The Black Ops games also introduced fictional elements and conspiracies to create compelling gameplay experiences. Unique tone and atmosphere: the Black Ops Cold War settings often had a grittier, more suspenseful, and paranoid tone compared to other Call of Duty games. The futuristic era of Call of Duty refers to a period in the mid-2010s where the franchise extensively explored near-future and far-future settings, advanced technology, and evolved gameplay mechanics. This departure from historical and contemporary conflicts aimed to innovate and offer players new experiences. Here are the main games that define Call of Duty's futuristic era. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in 2012, while partially set in the late Cold War, a significant portion of its campaign takes place in 2025. This introduced near-future elements like advanced drones, robotics, and cyber warfare, marking the initial foray into more futuristic themes. Its multiplayer also featured some advanced gadgets. Call of Duty Ghosts in 2013, set in a near-future scenario where a devastating mass event has crippled the Middle East and South America, leading to a new global superpower. While not as technologically advanced as later entries, it featured some futuristic weaponry and gadgets. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare in 2014, this title fully embraced the future, set between 2054 and 2061. A key addition was the exosuit, which granted players enhanced mobility options like boosting, dodging, and vertical jumps. The campaign focused on private military corporations and featured advanced weaponry and vehicles. Multiplayer was heavily influenced by the exosuit's movement capabilities. Call of Duty: Black Ops 3 in 2015, set in 2065, this game delved deeper into cybernetics and neural interfaces, blurring the lines between humanity and technology. Players controlled cybernetically enhanced soldiers with special abilities called cyber cores. The movement system built upon advanced warfares with thrusters for boosting and wall running. The campaign featured 4-player co-op and a customizable protagonist. Multiplayer heavily emphasized the specialist system, giving players unique characters with specific weapons and abilities. Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare in 2016, this installment went the furthest into the future, set in a distant future where Earth's resources are depleted, and humanity has colonized the solar system. The campaign involved full-blown space combat with pilotable fighters called jackals and zero-gravity environments with grappling hooks and boost packs. Multiplayer featured combat rigs, similar to specialists, and continued the advanced movement system. Key characteristics of futuristic Call of Duty: advanced movement, exosuits, boost packs, wall running, and sliding became core mechanics, significantly changing the pace and verticality of gameplay, especially in multiplayer. Futuristic weaponry and gadgets, energy weapons, advanced optics, deployable drones, and other high-tech equipment were common. Cybernetics and augmentations. Black Ops 3 particularly explored the integration of technology with the human body, granting soldiers unique abilities. Space combat. Infinite Warfare introduced a dedicated space combat element with pilotable spacecraft. Narrative focus. Campaigns often explored themes of transhumanism, the consequences of technological advancement, and future global conflicts. Reception: the futuristic era of Call of Duty was divisive among fans. Some praised the innovation and the new gameplay possibilities offered by the advanced movement and futuristic settings. Others felt it strayed too far from the franchise's core boots-on-the-ground gameplay and preferred more traditional settings. Black Ops 3 was generally better received than Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare, particularly for its multiplayer and zombies modes. Infinite Warfare faced significant backlash upon its reveal, with many fans expressing fatigue with the futuristic direction. In conclusion, Call of Duty's evolution through different eras, its talent for capturing the imagination of American players with its immersive stories and intense action, and above all, the crucial importance of its multiplayer and global gaming culture, make it a legendary franchise. The IP continues to reinvent itself while retaining the elements that made it successful. What's your favorite era of Call of Duty? What are your most memorable multiplayer moments? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this retrospective, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into video game history. Thanks for watching.